another episode of Check That Post podcast. I'm your host, Jen, and these are my beautiful co-hosts,
Christina,
Marjorie,
and we have a returning guest, Miss Tamara Williams.
welcome.
Thank you
for joining us today once again.
Thank you for having me again.
It's a pleasure, always. Tonight's topic, we're going to be discussing having the hard conversations. Conversations about, well, first, before I go there, last month, for the whole month, all we talked about was love.
Love, love, love.
Because February is love month. So this month, we're going to start off with life. And if you've been following us for a while, you know that we talk about life, love, and relationships. So feel free to ask your questions, whatever input you have, let us know in the comments, and as we see it, we will address it. If we don't see it, don't be mad, we'll catch it afterwards. So before we get into it, how was y'all day today?
Mine was good. Went by kind of swiftly, I guess. Just excited to be here tonight with you beautiful ladies.
mine went okay as well. Had a good week at work and got some rest, so that was good. And got to spend some time with the kiddos and my husband, so can't complain.
Awesome. Well, mine was definitely challenging, but I got through the day so far, so I'm thankful.
Well, you don't look like what you did through.
Right.
I know that.
Look like you had a good day.
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You looking good, that is.
Yeah.
Hey, well.
And I had a good day as well. It went by quick. I'm off tomorrow, so I can just chill. So, yes.
Right.
I love your hair, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It's looking good.
Great. I'm talking to you.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, your locks are locking today, okay? They're looking really good. That's a two-string.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Okay, please.
Right. Let's shout out your retwister real quick.
Who did it?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, she can be found on Facebook, and I'll shout out her number because I don't know it by heart. Wait a minute, hold on, I'll give it to you.
If
Hold
she's
on.
on Facebook, can you give her Facebook?
You got to look.
Or put it in the comments or something.
Yeah, I put it in the comments. How about that?
Yeah.
And she does an awesome job.
She did do a great job. You know,
Very
it's wonderful.
affordable.
Awesome. Great
And,
parts, great work. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. But I'll let y'all know about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, when you're facing the inevitable, preparing for death, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy conversation to talk about. But we're going to try our best to get into it. So we're going to start with you, Ms. Tim. How could anyone prepare their children or loved ones if they don't have children or a significant other? How can you really prepare for them?
Ooh, well, that is, that can be challenging and all in itself. But we can definitely do some things. So I used to be a formal life insurance agent rather. So I wrote policies and all and tried to help people prepare for the inevitable because it is something that is going to occur at some point.
Right.
So one of the things that we definitely can do is we can definitely, and you might get into this a little bit later on, but we can definitely write a will. I am very, very, I update my will every year. And those are resources that you can find online. I think it's South Carolina Testament and Will.
Yeah.
You do have to get it notarized. Some people maybe even bring lawyers involved as well to help with that process. but I update mine every year because things change.
Right.
I recently, like almost 2 years ago, I lost a sibling. So with that being said, I wouldn't even change that or what have you. So one of the things that we can definitely do is make sure we have that will in place, make sure that we have, our beneficiaries in place, make sure they know where certain policies,
Right.
that kind of information.
How to find-
want to have that.
How to find what.
Absolutely. And as Jennifer was saying earlier, it is hard. It is something that we kind of run away from.
Yes.
But one of the best things that you can do is you can put a life insurance policy in place.
Right.
I know the wealthy, they are self-insured, so they don't
Yes.
do that. But have a life insurance policy on your job as well as outside your job.
Right.
So that's an additional way of preparing
Right.
because I don't want to talk too much, but
No, you're good.
it's stressful.
It is. It can be.
It can be.
Absolutely
Yes.
can be.
Absolutely. It's very stressful when your loved one is not prepared to
Right.
transition. Well, is not prepared for the things that are left here on earth
Right.
for people to have to continue with. So that's one of the things, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about that later, is I came up with this thing, we need you to continue. And that is laying all of those elements out.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, how important is it to make sure, like you said, not only have insurance on your job, but have insurance outside of your job? How, because you just never know what may happen on your job, and then some jobs allow you to carry it to your new job, or carry, like, when you're unemployed, that allow you to pay. I don't know of any jobs that does that, but I've heard that that is a thing. So how hard, or how could you stress the importance of just making sure you covered some way or another?
Well, absolutely, and I think that's what you said. You hit the nail on the head
Right.
when you said, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So, you can go in tomorrow and not have a job, and then what?
Yes.
And then something could happen within the process of you getting a new job and you have no coverage. So you definitely want to have duplicate coverage, because a lot of times, sometimes on the job you may just have I don't want to call it a basic amount, but you may not have a significant amount
Right.
of money that you are paying for through the job. And then, you can get a life insurance policy that may be a little bit more, because the reality of it is, I got the wives up here. The reality of it is, God forbid if any of that happens, but when you lose a spouse and they have all of their things, or they were maybe covering certain things, like, it's a significant loss.
Right. Yes.
Significant. It could be a significant financial loss. But there are so many different things that, different accounts, different, I want to say annuities. There's just different things that you can set up
Right. Yeah.
to, like, still have that money coming in to have those things taken care of.
Right. Pay a house off.
Kind of eliminate some of the bills that spouse was paying, that you won't have to pay no longer because you did have this set in place. So I definitely agree with that as well.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to be having to have to grieve plus worry about where you're gonna lay your head. Like, you
Right.
want that time to be able to grieve
Right.
and not worry about how to go back to work the next day. Like, who wants that? So that's very, very important.
Well, I feel like it's perfect time, but I want to give a shout out to a lady I met named Cody, and she gave me some very useful information, so I'm going to go ahead and share that real quick. So she told me about a booklet that you can get off Amazon, or you probably order it at Walmart or anything like that. Let me see what it's called. Let's see.
I'm dead. Now what?
Yeah, I think it's I'm dead now, so now what? So if you just type that in on Google, it might not be the exact name of that notebook, but something will pop up. And it's basically like a big notebook where you can put all your important information. I would suggest if you have a safe, put it in your safe. Because you don't want just anybody to get a hold of this book.
Right.
But it'll be something where you can put your relatives' names in that book, like your parents, grandparents. If you've been married, when did you get married? If you got a divorce, when did you get a divorce? Because apparently if you want some type of death certificate or something, you have to have that information. Bank account information, you can write that down, like how many banks you have, what money is where, what you want people to do with that money. And also in the notebook it has stuff like if you want people to do certain things with your assets. You can write that in the book, or if you just want to leave special messages behind for like your kids or your spouse or anybody, that's something you can write at the back of the book.
Right.
I'm gonna get me a book, and y'all might be getting some, from me randomly. Not, nothing trying to make you be like, whoa, Dev, what you trying to do?
Right.
But I just think it's a good book that everybody should get. And on Amazon, I don't even think it was more than like $20. So I think it's very important, especially like when you try to bring up the conversation of death. A lot of people shut down and be like, well, don't speak that on me and stuff like that. So at least if you have that notebook left over, since you didn't want to talk about it when I was live, you go get my book and read it.
For real, because that could be like kind of life and death right there in itself.
Right.
In the mental state, because you might be going crazy trying to figure out how you going to do what.
Yeah.
And then this person might have had $20 million set up somewhere and you don't even know how to access it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I definitely agree with that. We're gonna drop the specific one in the comments
comments later.
in a little bit later,
Yeah.
just so we can make sure you guys are getting the right one.
Mhm.
And shout out to what's his name?
Cody.
Cody. Thank you, Cody, for that.
Thank you for that information.
Definitely use that notebook right there.
That's good. Could I add something to what you all were saying as well? Especially like even your checking accounts and your savings accounts. It's good to even go ahead and put your beneficiary on those accounts.
Right.
And that way
Yep.
they're not having such a hassle to
Right.
access your money and things of that nature.
Agreed. Yes. And then also having those hard conversations with your children, the older ones, the ones that can handle it. Have those conversations, let them know what you want done. In case you pass and your significant other pass. Both of y'all pass at the same time. Somebody got to know what to do.
Right.
Have that will set aside for if both of y'all pass, what to do with your children. Like who you want to oversee your estate and taking care of them. Like they got to go through school, they got to have medical stuff taken care of. Which brings me to which one do you supposed to have? And from my understanding and from the research that I've done, it is good to have both a will and a trust. So do y'all know the difference between the will and the trust?
No.
I thought that the will, are you meaning like a living will and a will?
Well,
Well, let me let you
yeah, I
explain.
know there's a difference between a will and a living will. A will take care of what your beneficiary, what you want, what you can put down, like I say, what you want done with your belongings after you pass. And the living will is more like health-wise, like if you in a coma and you can't speak for yourself, who's gonna take care of whoever you leave that.
Who you gonna appoint what?
Right, who's gonna make decisions for you if you
Right.
can't make your own decisions.
So you think that's important to have too?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. Like, cause you, I could be riding down the street, you have an accident, and I'm laying up there, don't know what's going on. Somebody got to make the decisions for me. Because we automatically assume that the husband gonna do it. And sometimes, like, if you got a lot of assets, your kids might be fighting over, like, well, you know, I want it, you know. And then,
That's true.
and I guess from there you might go through probate or something, and you don't want to have to deal with all that. You don't want them to all the fighting. I mean, it's bad enough that you laying up there and can't make your own decisions. That somebody got to make your decisions for you.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like it was important to have these conversations, because I'm learning too. Like I haven't had to go through it as of yet. I ain't looking forward to it, but I'm gonna make sure it's taken care of on my end. I'm gonna do what I can do. So I would suggest y'all do what y'all can do for y'all thing.
Yes.
But with that being said, can you give us a little bit more on the difference between?
You might have to fill me in on that, because I always thought that a trust was something that, especially when you're dealing with children, that they could not access that until they were 18.
A certain age, right.
Well, if you have, to my knowledge, if you have it set up that way.
Okay.
Like, okay, say that you have money set aside for them to go to school. You have somebody taking care of, you appoint a person to take care of them, and they get a certain amount each month to help take, lift that burden off of them, because it's your child, so you want to make sure that child is taken care of, but you have to still appoint that person that you want to take care of. And then when they become of a certain age that you said, then they can get the remainder.
Full access.
To my understanding.
That sounds about right. Yeah. It sounds right what you're saying.
But you know what, in my mind, I've always thought that was for people that, had all this quote unquote money, but that's not necessarily the case. I mean,
Yes, you can do that for life
everybody.
insurance, though.
Yeah.
Like, so the way I have mine set up is, something happened to me, you got them. I'm sure you know that already. You ain't really got no choice in that matter. But no, I love you for that. I know you don't mind doing that. But I got it set up to where you'll have enough money, to take care of them, all of their needs until they're grown and out of your home. I mean, if you want to kick them out at 18, you do what you do. But I'm pretty sure they're going to college, so it's going to be enough to make sure they're straight. You won't have to come out of your pocket for anything. So that brings me to, you got to make sure you have the correct amount, like, of insurance. So, and like you said, have some with your job, have some outside of your job, because you don't never know, when you might not have that job anymore. And yes, It is some insurance companies that will allow you to continue to pay on that policy until a certain amount of time, or they might let you just transfer it completely from the job straight into your own policy. There's different ways to make sure you still have that continued, especially if you got some within your job and outside of your job as well. Because if you lose that one, you still at least got that other one waiting, until you get another job, and then you'll have two again. Yeah. So you'll never go without any. It might not be the amount that you want it to be, but the job ain't really gonna give you the amount that you want it to be. So, if you have some outside, you choose your amount. You decide what you want to pay. And then I just feel like, we spend money on eating out. You know what I'm saying? Like, the money I spend eating out every week, I can take that and put towards a life insurance policy, and not even every week. I'm going to say, because that's a week, in 1 week, what I would spend on eating out, that's the whole month, worth of my policy. That's me paying a 1 month's premium. Let me use the correct language. That's 1 month's premium, that I could have paid just saving money from eating out in 1 week. So it's not expensive, and of course it depends on, what type of policy you want to get. And then also the policies, most of them hold cash value. So there's other benefits, and Tamara, I'm pretty sure you could probably elaborate a little bit more on that. as well, but
I'm being a little biased because I always was taught by term instead of whole life insurance, which has the cash value piece into it. Because, say for instance, I need to go and borrow that cash value that has built up. From my understanding, once you go get it, you no longer have a policy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, because it is, especially if you never pay it back.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, so you no longer, it's like you no longer have a policy. And I think it's still like a penalty on you paying back your own money.
I'm sorry. So they basically, you're saying they charge interest?
Yeah, I
what you
believe
pay
it's
back?
like an interest with it.
Okay.
Y'all
If you
had,
were- if you were to pull some of the money
Yeah,
out.
if you were to pull something out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess that makes sense, cause like I got a CD, so if I was to go in there and yank something real quick, they would charge me more.
Yeah.
You know, so I get
Same
that.
with like 401k, you know, if you were to take some money out to 401k, you gotta pay that money back.
But you're still paying yourself things. So
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Versus paying the bank, you pay
Right.
yourself.
It's
So
still
you
coming
basically
back
your
to
own
you.
bank.
Right.
But then there's a book called Bank on Yourself. And that book has something in it about, like, say if someone had a terminal illness, there are some policies where you can go in and take money to help you get through your terminal illness. So it's a lot of different things.
Right,
A lot
it
of
is.
things,
It's
you know,
a
out there.
bunch
You
of
gotta
different
do
options.
research.
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. I would encourage you to do your research. Don't just take everybody's word at face value.
Right.
Find out for yourself what's right and what's
Yeah.
real, because there's a lot of
Contact
scammers out
somebody.
there.
Yeah, contact. Y'all can inbox us. We'll get y'all in the right direction. You guys also can contact Jessica Duckett. I do have a phone number here if you have it a pen handy. If not, I'll drop it down in the chat or in the comments. But it's 864-871-8086. And her name is Jessica Duckett. She's a licensed insurance agent, and you can contact her, and she will get you right. So, what you say, Tamara?
I said, that's what y'all should have had up here.
Right,
She current.
right. Look, we gonna get her.
I'm rusty.
We're gonna get her back. Yeah, she did kind of touch on it just a little bit the last time she was here. But if there are, some people that want to get connected, we can get her back on here. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't mind joining us to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that. We're doing life all month, so Jessica,
Y'all want
let's
a
get
part
on.
two? Comment
Right.
part two.
Jessica back.
Conversation.
Right,
We
absolutely.
definitely can go into this again. And also, on that point, or on that note, aren't you gonna put in earplug?
I mean, I did. I said inbox. Inbox. Check that post. You guys can inbox us, and I'll get you guys set up in the right direction. If you don't have a policy, if you know somebody that needs a policy, word of mouth is everything. So we can get you contacted with the right people. Let you know what your options are. Just hit the inbox, or like I said, contact Jessica, either or.
And also make sure some insurance is better than having no insurance. Because one thing about it, when you got mother, father, if they no longer here, you got brother, sister, somebody in your family gonna have to bury you.
Right.
And you don't wanna leave a burden for them.
Right.
When they already got their own thing going on. And life is hard. It's hard for everybody. Everybody's going through something. So why not take care of that part so they don't have to worry about it? Like, like she said, we spend money on everything else. We can spend a couple of dollars to make sure that we're going to be taken care of. Because, everybody got that time where they're going to have to leave here. Because you can't stay here. Like, you was never destined to stay here.
Right.
Everybody got that expiration date. We don't know when it is, but we know it's coming. So, With that being said, wouldn't you want to prepare for something that's coming?
That you already know is coming. Like
That you know
said,
you cannot avoid.
it's inevitable.
Like, it's coming.
Definitely gonna happen.
So there's no need to worry about it and stress about it because ain't nothing you can do about it. Like, we born with that expiration date. So just be prepared for it as best that you can. So
And it's so sad when you see, you know, people have to put up the GoFundMes and
Yes.
stuff to try to, you know, give a proper burial or even just to cremate somebody. You know, it's expensive. Like, this stuff ain't cheap.
right.
You know, trying to come up with some stuff, you know, out of pocket, like the whole family, you know, trying to pitch in, you know, because you don't have that stuff set in place. You know, just think about the burden that it will leave on your family if
Right.
you don't have these things set in place. So I definitely.
I love what you all were saying because you're absolutely 1,000% correct. And it's our responsibility. You know, I think about the having our house in order. You know, it's our responsibility, and part of that, having your house in order, is just not spiritual. It's also, you know, physical. Making sure you are taking care of that piece.
Right.
And you're right, like having to do like a fish fry or the GoFundMe just to cover the expenses, and you could just budget.
Right.
You just budget, make sure that's done. Make sure that you're checking in with whatever life insurance agency you go with.
Yeah.
And if you need to make those updates, you be able to change them because you know life be lifing,
Right.
things be happening.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't want to be putting life insurance policies in kids' names that are younger than 18 because they not going to, I mean,
Right.
it's just not a good idea. I don't even think they can get it. So you want to definitely make sure that you have the beneficiaries, make sure even, and then walk you through those kind of things, the contingents and all that. So it's just good to be informed and to know what you're doing and, you know, to execute that plan. So
Right.
Agreed.
Everybody has got any input on that part? If not, guess we can't get into our dear Jen. It's about time. Okay, though. Be killing me with that. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, dear Jen, what is the difference between a will and a trust? Do I have to have them both? Well, we went over that. I don't know if you necessarily have to have both, but it would be a good idea to look into. And I don't see what the harm is. Like, if you can afford it to do both, then do both. Like, looking at her. But again, as always, do your research. And we have time for one more. God, that 30 minutes went by fast. But before I go there, y'all got anything you want to add to the Jen or anything? Okay. Dear Jen, what did I just do? As a newly single parent, I want to make sure my child is taken care of. Should something happen to me before he comes of age. However, I don't know what to do. How do I make my wishes for his life known? Concern money.
You order that notebook.
So right.
Yeah.
The notebook, a will, you know, just setting that stuff in place before something happens to you. You know, we always want to make sure that, you know, our kids especially, you know, are taken care of when something does happen to us. You know, of course we want to go out before our kids do, but sometimes, you know, it might happen the other way around. So you want to make sure you gonna be straight, you know, if something does happen to one of your kids. So you just want to do whatever, you know, you can. Like we said, contact somebody just to see exactly, you know, what all your options are, because you do have multiple options. That's fine. my answer.
And there's nothing wrong with talking to a trusted family member.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you don't have a significant other anymore, maybe talk to your mom or your dad or siblings or a best friend. Somebody that can be like, oh, well, me and her talked about this and this is what she told me. If you order that notebook, tell them where you put your notebook so they can get it, if something happens to you. That way it's not them just going off hearsay. Like, they can see it on paper in your handwriting, like, this was her wishes. So,
But you gotta remember it as well to go along with that. Like Timber said, make sure it's notarized.
yeah.
Got to make sure it's notarized. Notarized. Because if not, then that's just words on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, I think Jennifer talked about this earlier, but like people can be grimy.
Oh
Yeah.
During
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole, loss of a loved one, they can be very grimy, they can be very greedy. So yeah, you want to have your ducks in a row so that you don't, you want to keep that contention down, that fighting.
Right.
If it's on paper, who can oppose it?
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
got it
Ain't
on
no
paper, nobody can
contesting or
oppose it.
nothing, right? You gotta follow, what that will or whatever is notarized, you have to follow that.
Yeah.
So ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. So I definitely agree.
And if you do have a significant other, you don't want them to have to worry about it as well. You want them to be able to have that time to grieve. You know they're gonna be missing you. They don't need to have to worry about this and worry about that. And, that's a time to come together as a family and remember your loved ones.
And if you think about it, y'all, they really give you like 3 days at most jobs of bereavement.
Right.
3-day bereavement.
Which is not nearly
Not
enough.
nearly enough. You can't tell me that, I should be okay in 3 days to come on back. Like, especially if I lost like a spouse or a child, like somebody really close to me, like, you can't tell me I'm gonna be ready in 3 days. I can tell you right now I ain't gonna be ready in 3 days. Like, no, that's not enough time for me. So you wanna make sure you do have enough money or short-term disability, not short-term disability, they got accidental, all kind of stuff. Man, I'm telling y'all, it's all kind of stuff out here that you can put in place ahead of time, before anything happens. The preventative things are measures that you can set in place, and it's very, very important to have. It could eliminate so much stress and chaos, when you do take off this flesh, for your family, for the people around you, the people that love you, that are gonna be stuck or, left with the burdens or, whatever, comes along with it. If you own a house, you're not finished paying on the house, you don't want to see your house just go back to the state or whoever is going, or the mortgage company. You don't want them to come and take your house away. You want your family to be able to grab them payments, continue those payments, or just go ahead and take the money and pay the house off. That's the family house, Or you got a house, my house, my house will be paid off, and my kids will have somewhere to live for the rest of their life. If they don't, get married or whatever, they want to live there together for the rest of their life, they can do that. They don't have to pay a mortgage for the rest of their life, All they got to do is make sure the lights on and the water paid, So you can definitely set your kids or your spouse up, to where they can possibly have a better life than they did when you were here. So.
And the reality of it is, when you have that survivor benefit, it really, but outside of just, lowering the stress, lowering the tension, you really can set the next generation up.
Right.
Like what you were talking about. That's one of the benefits of taking care of business, making sure you take care of the debts, because, the bill collectors, they're going to be with you. They're going to have a little cent.
They're going to give you about a week.
When they, when the loved one passed away. But after that, they coming. They cut too.
Yeah.
So, but basically what I want to say is it's really a benefit because you are able to set that next generation of your kids up, and it can be a blessing. So
Absolutely.
it could definitely be a blessing.
Put your kids through college. It's so much, y'all. Y'all just don't know. Like, once your eyes are open to it, you're gonna be like, wow, like, why I haven't been doing this? And one more thing before we cut up out of here. So the benefits too of getting it now, like while you're still kind of young, you know, like getting it now while your health and stuff is intact. Because once you get a little bit up in age, you know, your health is gonna kind of decline if you're not taking care of yourself properly, not eating properly, not exercising properly. So you know, once you try to wait, you know, till you get on up in age, start having health problems and stuff, them people going, we need you to take this kind of test, we need to take this, you know, these, go through these measures. Once this is good, then I will allow you to get a policy. Or, you know, I can give you one, but I'm going to cap you out at this much right here, you know. So you want to make sure you do it as soon as possible while you're good in your health, you know, that way they can't, you know, refuse you, you know, like once it's set in place, it's set in place. You know, you have that. As long as you're paying your premium, that's a contract that you have, you know, and they're going to have to abide by it. So I would definitely do it sooner than later.
Yes, and make sure them kids is covered, y'all.
Oh yes.
Make sure those kids are covered. Make sure those kids are covered.
Absolutely. A must.
Oh yeah.
That's a must.
Well, I think this has been a much needed hard conversation. It's a good one. But if you have any questions, you can hit us up at dearjen@checkthatpostpod@gmail.com or text 866-311-2251. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at Check That Post Pod. Hit the like and subscribe button if you want to hear more stories like this or get more information. Then let us know in the comments, and we will get back with you.